Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another collection of my makeup diaries. So this is another week of all the makeup looks that I've worn in the past 7 days, and I'm gonna show you what I'm using, what I think about the product that I'm using, and obviously hopefully give you some kind of inspiration on what you can wear for yourself. And before I'm gonna get into this particular eye look, please like this video, comment down below which look was your favorite once you watch the entire video. And in case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows especially. I do also participate in a lot of panning projects, so you're probably gonna see some of my products from all sorts of different projects, not just panning projects, but also usage projects, and then some newer products because I still review new products once in a while, usually like 2 palettes a month, even though around Halloween time I usually buy a little bit more. So we'll see how it's gonna go for me in this video. So I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. And now let's get into this particular eye look. I wanted to wear blues, but I didn't want it to do like too, I don't know, I didn't want it to go full out, even though it's the weekend and I can literally wear whatever I want. But I've been meaning to try this type of smoky lash line type of situation. I don't actually know how you call these types of looks. So what I've used, I'm currently working on this Blend Bunny and Lint's collaboration palette in one of my projects, and I wanted to use these 2 blue shades because they're in my, I'm trying to open Left Behind this palette, and these ones I haven't really used too much. So I've used the shade Boo, this really deep vibrant blue, along the entire lash line, like on the top, on the bottom, in the inner corner, like the entire lash line is kind of encased in this deep blue eyeshadow. And then I've used the shade next to it, which is called Nobody. It's this kind of icy, slightly tealy blue, and I kind of smoked out the previous shade with this one, so it's kind of everywhere around. And I am quite enjoying it. Obviously my eyes aren't really built for this because they're quite round, and here in the outer corner I do have quite a bit of creasing, and like because I have hooded eyes, so like my fold ends here, and that makes it a little bit strange to create this shape, but I managed. It took a little, you know, going back and forth, but eventually we got there. And I also have this shade Winnie all over my lid because I didn't want it to use my like regular eyeshadow primer. I wanted to use a concealer for a primer because I kind of had like a little bit of like a purpley lid from yesterday because some of my eyeshadow stained my lids, and it would look quite ghouly, well, not ghouly, zombie-like in my case. So I've used this Catrice Insta Bright Serum Concealer all over my lids, and when I was kind of picking the shades that I could set this with, I decided I want to still have a little bit of color on my lids, but nothing too crazy. And this peachy shade is absolutely wonderful. So it's called Winnie. It's beautiful, beautiful shade. I am trying to hit a pan on this, so that's also another reason why I've used it. But I felt like if I'm gonna use a beige or like a setting shade, it could look a little bit too light, because this concealer is definitely too light for me to wear on its own. So those are all the matte shades, and then for the shimmer shades, I have, where is it? Oh, the Unearthly All I Ever Wanted palette. It's a, I think 12 pan, yeah, 12 pan all shimmer palette, and I'm currently working on this shade called Angel in one of my projects. I don't know if I've hit a pan or not. It's kind of hard to tell because this shade has a lot of like silver sparkles inside, and obviously the pan is silver, so it's hard to tell. But I have that in the inner half of the like upper lash line and then also on the lower lash line over here, just so that it's not fully matte and there's still a little bit of sparkle, because I love my shimmery eyeshadows. And also I wanted to use this one. And then I have my Show Me Makeup Liana palette, and I'm using the shade Silvery Snake, this one, in the inner corner. Again, I just wanted to use this shade and I feel like it fits this type of color story really well. So that's the one. Then what else? In my brows, I usually start with my brows, but today I decided to change the order a little bit. In my brows, I'm mixing two shades. One of them is called Nowhere. It's from the Christmas Eve palette from Odense. I bought it in here. And then I'm mixing it with this shade, which is from the Shroud and Berry Bean collab palette. It's called Hello Bean. And this shade is Loser's Club, I believe. And I love mixing them. They create a beautiful brow shade for me, especially when I have dyed my hair. Then I have the Maybelline Superlock Brow Glue to set my brows. On my eyes, I have the Glisten Spectra Pencil in the shade Dark Blue in my waterline to, again, just continuing with this theme. Mascara is this Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Waterproof Mascara. I have my Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10 in my under eye area. Then blush is this Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach. I'm wearing this all the time, so you're gonna see it a lot. But I'm trying to use it up completely, and I don't have that much left, so I might be able to do that before the year ends. Highlighter is the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette, and I'm mixing the shade Aurora with the shade Cosmic. So these two over here. I love mixing them. They create a beautiful wet looking highlighter. And especially with these really cool toned looks, it's just a perfect combo. And then on my lips, also my favorite combo lately, so you will see it a lot as well probably, is the Essence Idar Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade The Perfect Shade, which is shade number 10. I'm panning this one, so you will see this all the time. And then I have the Maybelline Vanilla Ink lipstick. This one is in the shade Peachy, no, in the shade Golden, which is the shade 105. I also have the shade Peach, and I usually rotate between these two. And it's a beautiful, like they all are pretty much like a pinky shades. This one is a little bit more on the, this one I think is more peachy than the shade Peach, somehow. And it creates a beautiful combo, and I just really like it. And the Vanilla Ink formula is that glossy formula that dries on its own, so it doesn't transfer or anything, but it's not fully matte on the lips. You can still feel it, but it doesn't move, it doesn't transfer, it stays in place, and it has a little bit of a shine. Obviously not as much as a lip gloss would, but also lip gloss wouldn't have the staying power of this. So yeah, it's a great one. I do really enjoy these, and they're just constantly on a rotation for me. So this is the look. I'm gonna scooch a little closer so that you can actually see it properly, and I adore this. I don't normally wear looks like this because I usually want to use as much of my eyeshadows as I can, so I usually do a big smoky eye, but this one looks really fun, and I think I'm gonna incorporate it, especially for these colors that are a little bit harder to blend into my skin tone, so these cool tone blues. I feel like it's a nice way to wear those colors. So if you're scared of blue eyeshadows and you feel like it's too much and it looks like a bruise on you, maybe just try to use it along the lash line, especially if you have a bit more bluey eyes, but also it looks really beautiful on on brown eyes. So that's a little tip, and that's the look. And now let's get into the other ones. Hey guys, so today I've been filming my look with the new Wicked for Good collection from REM, and what I have on my face. So brows are not the usual. I'm actually using the Salem palette from Nomad, and I'm using the the fourth column, the first shade at the top, which is like a gray, and then the berry one underneath. I can't remember what they're called, but I'm gonna pop up a picture over here because I don't want to get up and go to my table to like retrieve this palette. So I have that on my brows. It's actually, it may be a little bit too cool toned, but still I think it's in the realm that's like consistent with my hair color. And I have the Maybelline Superstay, the Super Lock Brow Glue. Then I have this Catrice Insta Bright Serum Concealer in the shade 001N as my eyeshadow primer. From this beautiful Ocean Forest eyeshadow palette, I'm wearing this brown shade, which is called Witching Hour. Then I have this green in the outer part called Take Flight. And then I have this in the outer corner called Wickedly Wonderful. And then for the shimmers, I'm using this melange shade, which is called Embrace Your Inner Green. Then I have the shade Festive, and in the like first half of the lid, and then Oh Oz in the inner corner and slightly on the lower lash line. This look is absolutely beautiful. Definitely go check out my review video. It came out however long ago, but I will pop it in the in the little card. Then I have my NYX Epic Wear eyeliner in the shade Blue Trip in my waterline. I have this Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Mascara on my lashes, the Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10. For blush, I'm wearing this blush palette. This is the Cherry Blossom blush palette, and I'm actually mixing two shades. So as my like blush, I'm using the Your Blushing shade, and then kind of as a highlighter, I'm using the Sunset in Oz because it has a bit of sheen. It's not like fully a highlighter, but it does have a nice little sheen to it. So I decided to try both of these shades, and they're gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then on my lips, I'm using the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade Cinnamon Spice, which is shade number 01. And then on my lips, I have this e.l.f. I think they're called lip stains or lip tints. I'm not completely sure. And this one is in the shade Cinnamon Dreams. It's a beautiful combination. I love tones like these on my lips. So that's this first look with this beautiful palette, and I can't wait to try it again in the next couple of days because I think I'm gonna have a great time again. Hi guys, so here's another daily makeup look. Today I wanted to do this like yellow blue type of look because I had a couple of shades that I wanted to use for like my Nope and Left Behind goals on one palette. And then also I don't know, it kind of fits my my dress, and I've been meaning to play with this color story for a while. So what I have on, I'm gonna start with brows, and for brows I'm mixing two shades from my autumnal BYOP, and it's the shade Nowhere from the Christmas Eve palette from Audience Eye, and the shade Losers Club, I believe, from the Shroud Cosmetics and Betty Bean the Hello Beam palette. And then I have this Maybelline Brow Glue, the like Super Lock Brow Glue. As a eyeshadow primer, I have this Catrice Insta Bright Serum Concealer in the shade 001N, because it's a light concealer, so it really creates a great base for these like lighter shades especially. You know, I wanted to really cover up the redness of my lids. And then the shades that I'm using. So I've used my Nomad Fuji 5 Flex palette because I wanted to Nope and Left Behind this one. And the shades that I was missing to Nope and Left Behind was the shade Fuji Cocoa, which I have as like the main blue shade, to kind of start up the halo eye. Then I have Mount Hay, I think that's how it's called, to like deepen it up in the inner corner and the outer part. Just create the halo. And then the shade Koyo, this one, this yellow, in the center of the lid. And I've also used one shade from the Blend Bunny and Lens palette, that is the shade Unhinged, this one. Kind of towards the brow bone and also on the lower lash line. And I also have it in the inner corner. And in the inner corner, I've actually used the Colourpop Shadow Sticks in the shade Hey Boo as a primer. And I kind of softly like blended it around and used the pastel yellow on top of it to make it like really bright, because that's what that's the effect that I wanted from this shade. Then I have my Shine On Shimmer Primer from Cleonat, and then the shimmer shades I'm using is in the corner parts, so like the darkest parts are the shade Yamanakako, this one. And then towards the center of the lid, I have the shade Kawaguchiko, this one. And I've actually hit pan on that. I don't know if you can see it, but what's crazy, I think I've used this shade like 4 or 5 times, but obviously I've used a very small brush today to like specifically apply it in the areas that I want to. Also have it on the lower lash line here in the like inner part of the lower lash line. And also this one is quite squishy, so it doesn't take a lot to hit pan on it. So I've actually hit pan, which was very surprising to me. I knew that there's a good dip, but I thought it's gonna take me like at least like 7-8 uses. Now that I'm gonna be able to do that in like 4 total uses of that eyeshadow. But I guess I was just using it with smaller brushes, or maybe it's just really, really squishy. I think last time I used it with my fingers, so maybe that also helped in that way. Then I have the LA Girl Pastel Dreams Auto Eyeliner in the shade Sunshine, this yellow, in my waterline. I have the Catrice Glam and Doll Volume Mascara. Then I have the Maybelline Super Stay Concealer in the shade 10 in my under eye area. Blush is the Revolution Fast Beat Blush in the shade Peach that I'm trying to ban this year. So you're gonna see it all the time. And then the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette. I'm using that for my face highlighter. And I'm mixing the shade Cosmic with the shade Milky Way for my highlight. I don't know how well you'll see my highlight today because it's been many hours since I've applied this, so you know. And then oh, I forgot one shimmer. I don't know what I'm doing. I have the Nomad Fairy Tale Europe palette that is currently in my Project 20 uses, and I've used the shade Belle, this one. On the lid, I wanted like a really sparkly yellow shimmer, like really metallic. So this one is perfect. It really fits the whole color story in my opinion. And I also have the Alcázar de Segovia, this one, under my brows to just kind of blend everything out and make the blue like really diffused, because that's what I wanted. So I also have one use for this beautiful palette. And then on my lips, I have the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade Cinnamon Spice that I'm currently panning and that I absolutely love. Is my favorite lip liner. And then the Maybelline Vinyl Ink lipstick in the shade 15 Peachy. I've been using this pretty much every single time because I've used up 2 of my Project Pan lipsticks, and this one is the oldest one from the ones that I currently own. So I'm just trying to, naturally go through the oldest products because they're probably closest to expiry date, or well, past expiry date probably. So that's that. And this is kind of the closer look. I love this. I've honestly gotten so many compliments. I thought that people would be like scared because it's very, It's definitely a look that's out there, but surprisingly people actually liked it. So that's strange. I never know what kind of reaction I'm gonna get, because sometimes I feel like I'm wearing like a very cutesy look and people are like staring at me weird. And sometimes I do these crazy looks and people are completely fine with that. So I don't know. I don't understand people, but that's the story of my life, so it's fine. And yeah, let's get into the next look. Hey guys, so here's another makeup look. And today I decided to show you how you can combine blue eyeshadows even with like a neutrally shades. And especially in autumn, I love mixing these like super warm orangey browns with these really almost like a tealy blue shades. It's the best combination ever. So let me get into all that I'm using for today's look. Brows are same as always. So I have the shade Nowhere from Christmas Eve from Udden's Eye, and then the shade Loser's Club from Shroud Cosmetics, the Hello Beam palette that I've depotted. And then I've set my brows with the Superlock Brow Glue from Maybelline. And then as a eyeshadow primer, I found my Catcher's Grip to Last eyeshadow primer. This one. And this one is just a transparent one in the shade Made to Stay. I don't know if they also have a like skin toned one, but this is the one that I'm using. And then for the like warm neutral part of this look, I've used my Wolfa palette from Shelly Makeup. I wanted to open up behind this one because it's in my autumnal eyeshadow palette collection. So I just thought, you know, let's use it. I don't get to use this one a lot just because it's small and I always forget that I have these small travel-sized palettes. But for this one, I've used this kind of mustardy orangey yellow in the inner part, and I'm also blending out the outer part of my crease, because for that one I've used this dark kind of like berry brown. So that's in my outer corner, and I just layered the darker shade in the outer corner, and then with the yellow I've blended it out and smoked it out a little bit to make it darker than the inner part, but still not like fully deep brown, because I knew I wanted to use the blue and I needed to sketch it first with a matte blue eyeshadow. And if I used this shade, I wouldn't see the blue shade over because it's too dark. Then first I thought that I'm gonna use this red shimmer kind of as a base and then cover it up with everything else so that it's not really all that visible, because I usually don't like red shimmers, especially these tones. But then since the crease looks very similar to the shimmer, I decided to actually make it a little bit more obvious. But to make it stay, I've used the Cliona Shine On Shimmer Primer that I'm working through, and I started with this red shade. I'm actually getting quite a good dip on it somehow, and I have that all throughout the center of the lid. Then I used a little bit of this like army greeny brown shimmer in the outer part, and then in the inner part of the lid, and then also in the inner corner I have this shade. And this one is beautiful because it has gold, green, and then this teal flip. On me, usually, even if I use it with cool tone like blue matte shades, it never really looks like in the pan. It always turns into this goldy green. So I would kind of wish that I would get this on my eyes, but it doesn't want to show up like that. Then for the blue eyeliner, so first I needed to use a matte eyeshadow to just sketch everything, because it's hard to be precise with shimmer shades unless they're like kind of more satiny. So I used my Blend Bunny and Lindt palette because I'm trying to nope and left behind this one, and I needed to use this blue shade to finish my nope and left behind. It's called Boo, and it's super bright royal blue, and it works wonderfully for this look. Like, it's just such a perfect shade to combine with this. And then over that, I've used my All I Ever Wanted palette, and I have one blue shade that I was focusing on this month, and it's called Angel. It's this beautiful kind of tealy purpley blue. It has a lot of different flips. It goes from this like periwinkle to kind of like teal seafoamy. Very pretty shade. So I have that over the matte blue. I just sprayed my brush to apply it, and I've used a small liner brush, like a angled angled liner brush. Then I have this Oden's Eye Summoner Gel Liner in the shade 09. It's this beautiful bright blue. I adore this one. I always forget that I have this shade for some reason, because I also have the Colourpop brand, and that one is slightly lighter and a little bit more pastel-y, and I always think of the shade brands without realizing that I actually have this. And then the blue mascara. This is actually my first time trying this particular mascara, but I have 2 more shades from this brand, from this entire collection. So I know that the formula is great. I just haven't tried this particular shade yet until today. And it's the Hendayan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, colorful mascara. This one is in the shade 04. It's this small little applicator. I normally use these more on my lower lashes, but today I wanted to use it on the top ones as well, because it's so gorgeous, and it only took like 3 coats to get to this opacity, which is pretty great, because usually with colorful mascaras you do actually have to layer them a little bit more, especially these lighter ones, because I don't have like black lashes, but they're not blonde either. Like, they're kind of more like a brown color. So it does take a little bit more of effort for these colorful mascaras to show up on me. And this one is so fun. I can't wait for winter, when I'm gonna wear these like pastel blue to white looks, and then this as a mascara. It's gonna look so gorgeous. But I feel like you can use this shade for pretty much any type of look, and I wouldn't mind wearing even like top brown shades all over the lid, and then just, you know, spicing it up with this mascara and the waterline pencil. I feel like that's a great way also to incorporate blue, even if you are a little bit more, you know, scared, or maybe you can't really wear too much of like colorful looks for work or whatever. This is a really cool way. Then I have my Maybelline Superstay concealer in the shade 10, just in my under eye area. Since I have this warm look, and I've been banning my Revolution Fast Base blush for the longest time, and I've been using it pretty much every single day, and I needed a change today. And for this warm look, I couldn't resist. So I have my NYX Buttermilk blush, and this one is in the shade Sune at the bottom, which is this bright orange blush. I have that all over my cheeks, and also kind of towards my temples, because with orange blushes, for some reason, I also use them as bronzers, kinda. So I use them in the same area that you would use both blush and a bronzer. I normally don't wear bronzer. I just don't like how that looks on me. But with orange blushes, come on. I want to look like an orange, okay? So this one is gorgeous. I love it. I've used it like, I don't know, 18 times maybe. And you can barely see that it's been used. Like, there's just a little bit of scratching on the imprint, but that's it. Like, I feel like this would take you 100 uses at least to even hit a pan on this. It's insane how much. It's very pigmented, so you don't actually use too much, but I still bathe my brush in this product. How much are you getting? Oh yeah, it's 5 grams. That's quite a bit. So this blush. Then for highlighter, I have my Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette, as always, and I'm mixing I think it's called Infinity with Milky Way. I use these all the times. Like I pretty much, yeah, I almost use this every single day, and I still don't remember the shade names somehow. I think that's some sort of dementia. I really how, but yeah, these two, because this one pulls quite like yellowy gold, and then this one obviously is very like peachy orangey. It just looks so pretty, and they're so wet looking, and oh, love these. And then on my lips, I have the Essence Adar Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade just Cinnamon Spice, sorry, Cinnamon Spice, which is the shade number 1. And then I'm using the Hendayan liquid lipstick. I don't remember how exactly is this called because it doesn't say on the packaging and I don't have the paper sleeve. But yeah, it's just like a matte liquid lipstick. And this one is in the shade 07. It's this really bright orange, but it's not like a pumpkin orange. It has a bit of coral, like a hint of coral in it. It really fits with my crease and everything, and it's just such a nice bright shade. I'm gonna love wearing this now that it's like autumn. Also, this one is probably the best formula. I have 3 or 4 yeah, I think I have 4 shades from this line. I have a purple, a deep blue, brown, and this one. And this one is the only one that took one coat to look like this. Usually, especially the blue and purple one, takes me around 3 coats to actually get the opacity right. The brown is also quite good. Like, I think I usually use 2 coats, but this one took only 1, so I think this is the best one from the shades that I have, and it's such a perfect one. To be honest, these don't stay on as great because these ones are very matte and well, very matte. They're very drying. That's how I'm gonna describe it, and they do kind of crack a little bit. So usually I get a good 2 to 3 hour wear out of these, and then they start to kind of crumble a little bit. They even start to like peel off in certain areas sometimes. So I either have to layer a like colorful lip gloss over them to like make it a little bit more prettier, or I would have to reapply. But honestly, these don't really look nice when you reapply them. I would have to take my entire lipstick off and redo my entire lip. So it's not a formula that I'm probably gonna wear to work or to like events, but for filming it's completely fine, because if I look like a crazy clown in 4 hours, it's completely fine. No one sees me. I'm literally just in my room editing, so it's completely fine. But that's for this look. Let me get a little closer so that you can see it in its glory. I really like this, even though it's kind of neutral, and it's currently Sunday for me, so I could do something like very bright and crazy, but I don't know, I've just been feeling like this, and I've been really wanting to create a look like that. So let me know your opinions down below, and that's it for today. Hi guys, so here is another look. This one is very simple, very basic. I just wanted to use a couple shades that I was working on in the past couple days and weeks, and this is what I came up with. I really like this. I really like this. I think it's gorgeous. So let me walk you through everything I have on. For my brows, I'm using the shade Nowhere with the shade Loser's Club. I've been mixing these two a lot lately because it's just the easiest thing to use, since I'm using the shade Nowhere every day and the brown is just right next to it. So I've been using these two in my brows. And then I have the Maybelline Superlock Brow Glue To set my brows, primer. I'm actually using this Maybelline Tattoo Color Tattoo Matte Crayon or Eye Stick or however it's called in the shade 15. I'm confident. It's a beigey shade. Looks like this. I just wanted to switch it up a little bit because I've been using the same things for my primer and I wanted to, you know, rotate through a couple different projects. And I completely forgot that I owned it. Well, I haven't forgotten. I just didn't know where it is. But I've been kind of cleaning my makeup space and organizing everything. And now I know where this one is, so it's easier for me to reach for. And then the shades, I'm actually only using one palette for my entire eye look, and it's the Muse palette from Cosmic Beauty because I'm trying to know and love behind this one. So I'm using the shade Haze in the crease. I have the shade Rosewood, which is a beautiful like reddish brown. I have that in the outer corner, and then I have this shade, which is Admire, in the inner part of the crease. And then the shimmers, so I have this kind of gray toned shimmer at the like outer part of my lid, and then I'm wearing the shade Antique in the like first half and towards the middle of the lid, and then also on my lower lash line. And I'm also using that in the inner corner, and I mixed that with the shade Luster to make it like slightly lighter, but I still wanted this undertone. And the shade Luster pulls quite pinky purple. And I think those are all the shades, yeah. So that's on my eyes. Then I'm using this NYX Epic Wear eyeliner in the shade Chartreuse Flash. It's a kind of metallic green yellow waterline pencil. For my mascara, I have the Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Mascara. Then I have the Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10 in my under eye area. For my blush, I'm using the Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peachy, as always. Then I have the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette for my highlighter, and I'm mixing the shade Milky Way with the shade, I think it's called Supernova. And then for my lips, I'm mixing my Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade Cinnamon Spice with this e.l.f., I think they're calling this lip stains or lip tints. I think it's called lip tints. And I don't know what other name this has because it doesn't say it anywhere on the packaging, and I don't have the paper box that it came in. But this shade is called Cinnamon Dreams. And it's a beautiful brown. Like, it's such a gorgeous brown. And it fits beautifully with this look. So that's kind of everything that I have on. And it's so autumnal. It's so beautiful. It fits everything so well. And yeah, I know it's really basic, but I just really like it. These are exactly the tones that I enjoy, especially lately. I've been really into this. It's just so autumnal, and yeah. I love autumn. It's my favorite season. So that's everything for this one, and let's get into the next look. Hi guys, so here is another daily look, and today my brows are the same, so, or I think it's the same. So the shade Nowhere with the shade Loser's Club, and I'm using the same brow glue, so it's the Maybelline Super Lock. I had to like really squeeze and scrape to get anything out. Like, it took pretty much all of my strength, so I don't think I have more than like a week left of this. But it also depends. Like, sometimes it's really hard to squeeze, and then the next day a lot of product comes out, so it's really hard to like determine how much I'm gonna need to use. Then I decided to use this Catrice Grip to Last Eyeshadow Primer because I feel like it's getting lighter, like the whole packaging is getting lighter, and I have so many opened eyeshadow primers, so I decided that now I'm gonna focus on this one, use it every single day until it's used up, and then go to the next one and just, kind of downsize my primer collection because I realistically only need one, and then maybe one like white based, like a white one. That's all I need. So that's for eyeshadow primer. What am I using? Okay, my palette that I have on my eyes is the Fall Magic palette from Unearthly. And I kind of use this green quote, so I have this shade called Forge in the like kind of top part to blend out everything. I have Earthy in the outer corner, and I have one of my Pendos palettes shade, and that is the shade Just Now from the Christmas Eve palette. I'm trying to really get some uses on it, so I have that in the crease, and also all over my lid, and in my on the lower lash line I just have a little bit of the dark green called Earthy, just in the outer part, but otherwise everything else is the shade Just Now, just to really use it up as soon as I can. And I've been using it kind of as a base even for non-green looks, just it's a great shade. Like it actually matches my eyes really well. I like my eye color, but I'm just kind of bored and I don't want to use it all the time. Then I have my Cleo Nut Shine On Shimmer Primer. I also think I'm gonna be able to use this up definitely by the end of the year, which would be great because I don't actually really like it. And I already have my clear primer. I don't have it here, I have it at my parents' house, but I've already purchased it, so I know I have a backup that is way better than this. And then, so for the shimmers, main shimmer all over the lid is the shade Leaves, which I noticed I have quite a bit of a dip happening, and these pans are quite shallow. So now I'm playing with the idea of maybe trying to hit a pan on this, but I have so many products that I'm kind of going through with my projects and stuff, so I'm probably not actually gonna be able to hit pan, but it could be a project for next year, or at least I know that this shade is here, and if I'll ever roll in like green shimmer in my Pendos eyeshadows or something starting with letter L, I can very easily just reach for this one and hit a pan on this one. Then I'm using my Show You Makeup Liana palette and the shade Full Bloom in the outer corner, just again to use it because it's another one of my Pendos palettes. And in my inner corner I have the shade Crisp, this beautiful white based one. It's kind of like a minty light green shade. It's like a minty with a bit of gold. I don't know how to really describe this shade, but it's very pretty. It fits this look. I know it's kind of basic look. I didn't have too much time today, so yeah, that's what we're working with. Then I have my Solmone gel liner in the shade 11 from Woodin's Eye. This is a white waterline pencil. I've been using it a lot lately because it's in my project pan, so I'm trying to use it up. And it actually goes pretty slowly, like it's hard to use these up because this one is a little bit more like thick and dry. I definitely am noticing the fact that these are probably getting older. Another thing that is getting older, even though I don't have it for that long, but I've used it a lot, is the Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Waterproof Mascara. So I think I only have like a week and a bit left of this, and then it might be done. Then my concealer is the Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade number 10, and yesterday I flashed a light through it, and I should be somewhere around here, like between this main text and this, like the text with the amount of ounces. So somewhere in between. And obviously there's a bit of a product on the walls, but otherwise it's getting lower and lower every single use. So that makes me so happy. And then I have my Revolution Fast Base blush in the shade Peachy as literally always, and this is all I have left. I don't know if you can see, but I've been able to like really, I wasn't focusing on my progress lately, like I wasn't really measuring it too much, and yesterday I was looking at this one and I realized that there is quite a bit of a jump, so again, very happy about that. And on my lips, oh, sorry, highlighter. I have the BDB Mini Charms palette, and the shade that I'm using is called Milky Way. I'm actually expanding the pen quite a bit. So that's on my cheeks. And then on my lips, I have the Essence Terra Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade Cinnamon Spice, which is the shade number 1. And I can give you a little sneak peek. This is probably like my second to last time using it because there's only a little bit and it was pretty hard to draw on my lips. But yeah, I think I'll still be able to get one more use out of it and then it's going in my empties, which is just so exciting. And I didn't know what to put on top of this lip liner because I didn't want it to go with my like normal everyday product, and I went through my lip gloss collection and realized that I have this NYX Fate, like the Wings Saga collab, and this is the Terra shade. I haven't used this lip gloss in like a year at least, so I decided to try it on. It still, I think, smells the same that it smelled last year, or at least it doesn't seem off to me, and it feels nice on the lips. So this might be a project pen product for next year because I'm somewhere here. So I've only used it like maybe 10 times, I don't know. And it could be something that I'll try to pen next year because obviously you're only supposed to use it, I don't know, 6 months maybe. How long are you supposed to? No, 12, no, 6 months. 6 months, yeah. And I think I've had that for maybe 2 years now. I think I bought it around autumn and it wasn't last year, so it can be 2 years. So we should be using this one up. I don't really wear lip glosses. Sometimes I do wear like a lip liner all over the lips and then just top it with a lip gloss to make it look a little bit more hydrating. But that's not very often. So, you know, I'm gonna have to get into the habit of wearing this, but it's gorgeous. It's minty, obviously on the lips. It doesn't really look like anything. It's just shiny, but that's everything. Like you can't see all the different sparkles. I wish lip glosses would look like this on the lips. Like that would be really cool. It doesn't look like this even over green lipstick, which is slightly disappointing. And like at least over the green color, it could look green. But that's a topic for another day. So this is the look. I know it's basic, as I said. I just need to wear these greens once in a while to pen my those palettes. And I always sound so tortured every single time I do these green looks, which is not true. I love green. I just feel like it's very boring of me to always show up here in a green look. And I also have a palette that I'm gonna review that is green, that I'm gonna wear in 2 days because I need to finish my review. And then I have another palette that I'm gonna review that is also green. And I brought this upon myself because I keep buying green palettes. So it's totally all my fault. But it's still annoying. Anyways, this is the look and see you tomorrow. Hi guys, so this is another look. Today I went with this kind of more like a taupey pink type of look. And I actually used my Unearthly Lethal Magic palette for most, well, yeah, kind of for almost all of this look. Because it's in my autumnal palette collection and I would like to at least no pen left behind this one. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use it more because I still have multiple palettes to go through, and I only have like month and a bit left before I'm gonna roll in for a new season. So yeah, I would like to just no pen left behind this. I have like 4 shades left from this palette, so I'm gonna do that for next look, and I would just like to at least use it a couple of times before, because it's a wonderful palette and I'm really enjoying the shades and it just makes me very happy. So before I'm gonna get into that one though, I'm gonna start with my brows so that I don't forget anything. I'm mixing the shade Nowhere from the Christmas Eve palette with the shade Losers Club from Shroud Cosmetics Hello Bean palette, and I'm setting my brows with the Maybelline Super Luck Brow Glue. Then I have the Catrice Insta Bright Serum Concealer in the shade 001N on my lids, kind of as a primer. And then the shades that I've used. So from the Fall Magic palette from Unearthly, I have the shade Branch. It's like the main outer corner shade. I'm also using Snack in the outer corner, and then slightly on the lower lash line in the outer part. And I also used one shade from the Nomad Cosmetics Fairy Tale Europe palette to kind of lighten up the inner corner area. I don't have any of the dark shades here. I just use this light shade called Alcázar de Segovia because I really wanted this to be like light in the inner part. And this one is a great like beige shade. It also sets the eye primer, the concealer, right? And then I have this shimmer primer from Cleona, the Shine On Shimmer Primer, and the shades that I'm using on my lid. So all over my lid is the shade Change. And as you can see, I was able to hit a pan on this one. So that's all over my lids. Then here in the inner part, slightly, I've used a little bit of the shade Enchanting. Not too much, just like a little bit with a small brush, just to make it like shift a little bit more in that area. And I have the shade Magic on the lower lash line. It's a perfect lower lash line shade because it's not as sparkly as the other ones, but it's still a bit shifty, and it really matches kind of this whole look and this kind of vibe. And in the inner corner, I'm going back to the Nomad palette, and I'm using the shade First Kiss. I'm really enjoying this one in the inner corner. Like, these two are definitely my favorite shades from the entire palette. They're just so pretty and so versatile. And this one is kind of like a pinky with a bluey sheen to it. So as you can see, it looks so pretty. I just really like these. And then in my waterline, I have the Udens Eye Salmon Liner in the shade 11 that I'm trying to pan currently. Then I have my Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10. It's my under eye concealer. The Catrice Glam and Doll Volume Mascara on my lashes. I have a little bit of this She Glam, how is it called? Hard Eyes 2-in-1 Stamp Eyeliner that I'm trying to pan this year. And it's double-sided. It has one part that is stamped. It has this little heart that doesn't really stamp anymore. And then I have this regular pen that I've been using for these, like, I can't do big wings with this because it dries down really fast. The tip dries really fast as well. And when you try to go over an area, you're kind of erasing the previous product. So it's a little bit harder to use. So I just use it for these baby wings. And yeah, again, I'm trying to use it up since the other side doesn't work anymore. So, and I don't think there's too much product left in the actual pen part. Then I have the Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach, as always. That doesn't change. And then the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette and the shade Aurora, this pinky one, because obviously it really matches, and I have that as my face highlighter. It's so pretty, and you know, I just really enjoy this shade, so I've been using it all the time. And I wanted to do a little bit more like a pinkier look, since obviously it matches with my hair quite a bit, and I just haven't really worn pink look in a while. Then I have the Essence Eternal Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade The Perfect Shade, which is shade number 10. And then this Maybelline Vanilla Ink lipstick in the shade 15 Peachy. I'm trying to pan this one unofficially as well because it's quite old, and I've noticed that it's a little bit, it's different than the other shades that I have from them that are newer than this particular one. So I'm just trying to kind of work on it before it expires completely. And that's everything for this look, and I think this is the last look of this entire collection. So let me know which look was your favorite, what you think about this one. Oh, also, I have new earrings. I actually bought multiple earrings at the like I think at the beginning of last month, but I'm slowly kind of trying them all. These ones are so pretty and so perfect for October. By the way, it's still October. I don't know when I'm posting this, but for me, it's still October. It's so cute. So where was I? Yeah, let me know which look was your favorite. I hope you had a wonderful week, and I'll be super happy to see you with another video tomorrow. So have a great day, and bye.